Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. I'm going to do your March the 30th Spiritual Principle a Day in a meditation. Hope you're having a beautiful morning. Let's go ahead and get into the meditation. If you need to reach me, reach out to me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Okay, the title of today's meditation is, need to go up one. Hopefully you can see that. Putting we before me with anonymity. Oh, this should be good. In keeping with tradition 12, the I becomes we. The spiritual foundation becomes more important than any one group or individual. That is taken from Basic Text, Chapter 6, Tradition 12. Thanks to the 12 traditions, everything that happens in NA is done by us and for us. A member who was a newcomer when the basic text was being written shared that this was one of the qualities of NA that made her stay. At 6 months clean, I was in a group business meeting. We were discussing changes to the basic text, and the secretary made a point of asking me what I thought. I knew right away that NA was unique. Anonymity calls on us to try to remain anonymous in our service to NA, but it can sometimes be more difficult than it sounds. Members who have started a new meeting may end up hearing others call it so-and-so's meeting. It can take a while to shake loose a label like that for the meeting, no matter how many times so-and-so says, it's the just for the day meeting, not my meeting. Other times, we may feel less inclined to practice anonymity in our service. It's easy to become very attached to a particular service position or role we have filled, and some of us become reluctant to allow others to step up and serve. I had an H&I panel for almost a decade, and a member with 5 years clean showed up at a subcommittee meeting offering to take on a panel. The subcommittee chairperson looked right at me and asked if I was ready to practice the spirit of rotation. Although part of me resisted, I knew it was time. Groups and service bodies need anonymity too. A member who served at the area level shared, our area nearly left our region over a resentment. The area spent hours debating a regional motion and sent in a strenuous no vote. Then the region passed it anyway. We were mad, but our area discussed it again and decided that we needed our region more than we needed to be right. Anonymity sometimes just means being willing to let things go. We can be conscientious and take pride in contributing our best, but then we let go. We do our part, and then we let a power greater than ourselves manage the results. My contributions to NA are important because they touch addicts' lives. I can serve without insisting on getting my way, and I can step out of the way to give others a chance to serve too. Wow, I didn't scroll up for you, so you didn't get to see that last part. Hopefully you can see that now. My contributions to NA are important because they touch addicts' lives. I can serve without insisting on getting my way, and I can step out of the way to give others a chance to serve too. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of the Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. just for today. Please and thank you. I felt a need to grab the It Works How and Why book, not the flat step working guide, but the actual book that has accompanied the basic text for so long. Tradition 12 says anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. Now, I wanted to read that to you so that we have some context going into the discussion about this meditation for March 30th. Putting we before me with anonymity. In keeping with tradition 12, the I becomes we. The spiritual foundation becomes more important than any one group or individual. So when we throw the words around, the cliche is really not a cliche. It's written in our literature. But when we throw that quote around, principles before personalities, we are talking about a spirit of anonymity. And we're directly talking about tradition 12. If you did not know that, you want to put that in your tool belt, okay? So when we're talking about principles before personalities, we are talking about tradition 12. If you remember when we read, right, the 12 traditions of NA, that is the 12th one that we read. And we use it all the time. We throw it around all the time until something like rotation for a service position comes up, until the position that you're actually holding and have been holding for years is challenged by someone else that would like to do the same thing. And you're voted in year after year, oftentimes because everyone believes you're an expert at it, because you do what you do excellently. And no one wants to rub you the wrong way. And so they allow you to continue to carry that. Also, one of the reasons could be that why would they inconvenience their life doing a service position that is already being done by someone excellently year after year after year after year? The thought of being a nominee, because most positions people are voted in, but if your area is small, your group is small, it just may be that you were a part of the founding members for that particular group and no one else has ever stepped up. Or is it that there's no appropriate business meeting? And so because it's so small, 2 or 3 of you are able to handle what needs to be done for that meeting. There's reasons why that could be. But the point that I'm making is principles before personalities, right? The statement that anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions. Ooh, sounds so lofty. Sounds so spiritual and wonderful until you need to apply it. And that's what leads me to say this. Today, I would like it if you would really think hard. Maybe you're not doing service at all, right? Maybe you're not doing service at all. But the addict in here said that they knew that NA was different. At 6 months clean, they were in a business meeting and someone asked them, what do you think about this? Someone took the time to invite this particular addict to give voice to their thoughts. And they said that they knew that NA was different from that point on because who would care about what I think? I mean, really, honestly, care about what I think? Yes, we care. Because we realize that the more of us together that carries this, the more potential for it to be more beautiful. Yeah, there's going to be some chaos, but spiritual principles should smooth over that chaos. Today, I want you looking at what you're contributing and how you're contributing. And I'm not talking about finance. I'm not talking about finances. During the pandemic, it was so difficult to get a contribution, a Southern tradition, because everything was virtual. People that had brick and mortar meetings and was paying rent were struggling to figure out how they could pay it. So I'm not talking about your money, although we need you to make 7 tradition contribution. This is a huge deal. And if you aren't ever going to look at your contribution, when will you? If you're never going to look at, you know what? I made a decision about a meeting that I serve on. Now, I served for over a year on this particular meeting and was, doing service work on other meetings virtually as well. And I stepped back because my life just got too hectic, especially with my health. And I'm not a person that I make a commitment and I back away from it, right? So I found myself needing someone to step up and relieve me. And it was going to be a couple of meetings back to back because I did several slots, right, during the week. And I just needed to get through this one particular procedure. And I knew by the time my next service position would come up, I would be ready to go. It was not so invasive, but I knew I needed a couple days, and the surgery was scheduled for that day. Do you know I was all the way up to checking in 2 hours prior to surgery before someone out of 50 or so people volunteered to help me? That broke my heart. That broke my heart. And I reached out to the steering committee and I said, you know what? I'm not a person that likes to drop the ball, but I am not able to continue this position. I will give you guys a couple weeks, but I really need it like confirmed that you have someone for this position ASAP. So sometimes rotation needs to happen because you're not able to continue to carry that position the way that it needs to be. And if that's the case, that's fine. Or if you know that you can't, maybe you're a person that can just help set up for the meetings or be a greeter, a hugger, um, make sure the slips for phone numbers are passed around. There's different things that a person can do that isn't necessarily a voted in position. I want you to be thinking about that, okay? I want you to think about that. My name is Mighty Stream, and I've had a beautiful morning with you. I have another meeting that starts in about 15 minutes, and it is a in-person. I'm back to in-person meetings. It is an in-person meeting that I must attend because it gives my heart such joy to be with them. So I will be talking to you tomorrow. In the meantime, have a beautiful day on purpose. Do that for me.